Hello again, everybody. Welcome back to Isolation Libations. I'm Joey Joyce. I'm your bartender. This is episode number 48. 48. It's Wednesday, so that's time for our midweek mocktail. So while we're listening to Brian Chartrand's music on his Happy Half Hour on Facebook.com/Brian Chartrand Music, we can take a little pause out in the middle of the week, put the booze aside, and make ourselves a nice, refreshing, non-alcoholic drink instead. Sorry, Brian, but nah, he's gonna drink anyway. Now, this is the 48th episode. I think I've been doing the midweek mocktail for most of the time, and somehow I'm amazed that I have never got to this one yet, because this is one of my absolute favorite non-alcoholic drinks. And I kind of discovered it more recently. I had it on Livestock Tavern's menu for non-alcoholic drinks back in Hawaii, and it's cool. It's an old school one. It's been around forever. It's called a Switchel. Now, a Switchel, another great name for it, is called a Haymaker's Punch. Now, this is like colonial era farmers Gatorade, basically. So the thing that I guess all Switchels would have in common: apple cider vinegar, ginger, some type of sweetener, and water. For the sweetener, usually molasses would be used, and that's indeed what I use for this ginger molasses Switchel. But that's kind of like the base. I mean, you could use honey, you could use like an agave, you could use maple. I try to stay away from just sugar because you're kind of missing out on some of the benefits of this drink, because it's actually like a healthy drink. I'm also amazed that in this era of kombucha and kefir and all this stuff, all these fermented drinks, that Switchels haven't really kind of taken off more, because it's so easy to make at home for yourself, and it's good for you, man. The molasses has a lot of potassium. You get all the apple cider, the raw apple cider vinegar benefits, and it's delicious. It tastes really good. And so the reason it was called like Haymaker's Punch was that people working out in the field, they would drink this instead of just water, because again, you think back at those times, the water sources were probably not the cleanest. So I think adding maybe the apple cider vinegar, a little fermentation happens, just like drinking beer instead of water would be safer back in those days too. Just kind of kills off some of the nasties that are in there. And again, this also has electrolytes. I always think of Idiocracy with, it's got electrolytes. So I don't know if you can water plants with this, but it's good for you, because you need those electrolytes. So if you're sweating a lot, it replenishes that, and it's great. So this recipe is kind of my adaptation. I just found the ratios that work for me. I will give the recipe to make the batch, and then today I'll also give the recipe just for making a single serving. It's a little tough to make just like one serving, but this is essentially a concentrate. We're only gonna be using about 2 ounces for this glass. So this will last you for a little while. Just stick in the fridge and it's good. The only thing I did a little bit different is I add some lemon juice too. Now that would have become popular a little bit more later, but in the early, colonial era, there weren't lemon trees growing in New England. Still probably aren't, unless I guess in greenhouses. And there's no California with which to ship citrus over there. So that came around a little bit later, but it does give it a nice little extra burst of vitamin C. So for such a simple drink, I have talked a lot. I'll give you one more fun anecdote. I was reading about the Switchel. I guess early days of Congress, they would always have a big bowl of Switchel in where they were meeting, and I guess it would be liberally spiked with Jamaican rum. And I was thinking, yeah, Jamaican rum would go really, really nicely with this. I know it's a midweek mocktail, but that ginger and the molasses, the lemon, come on, a little bit of Smith & Cross in there, a little Ray and Nephew, and you're flying. So maybe tomorrow we can do that. But for today, it's a mocktail. So here we go. Really, really simple one. Again, we made this batch already. I'll give you the directions. It's not a real exciting process to watch, and pretty simple, straightforward. You can do it yourself. So all we're gonna need to do, fill up some ice. And this one I am actually just gonna build it right in the tin over the ice, because I'm going to use the same ice to put in here. And then it's really, really easy. Sometimes the ginger will kind of settle, so give it a little swirl. I did strain out the ginger pieces, but even still the juice will kind of collect at the bottom. And it's just 2 ounces. If you want, obviously, if you want like a weaker, not quite so tart, do a little bit less. If you like more, I like a little bit more. I'm gonna do a little bit more. Or like 2.5 ounces. Garnish wise, you could do a lemon wedge. You got a sprig of mint hanging around, toss it in there, a little rosemary. I'm going garnishless. I'm gonna have this refreshing. Okay, this is water. You can eyeball it. It's around 5 ounces or so. And that is it. Just shake it up. That's it. So imagine you're out there working in the fields, cutting your hay. It's hot, sun's blasting down on you. And you have this nice, refreshing ginger molasses switchel, replenishing your electrolytes, and a little potassium, a little vitamin C. That's it. So cheers. Yeah, man. A little rum in there would be so good, but it's great like this. Great on a hot day. Cheers, everybody. I'll see you on Thursday.